Some names popping in.
Great. Well, welcome and good morning, everybody. My name is Michael Powers. I'm going to be introducing our speaker today, Ryan Dark, and giving you a quick overview of the process. When I first looked at this topic, I was like, wow, how relevant to our work. You know, we've always had the need to innovate, but now with COVID and many of us are hybrid workers, it's really relevant to our work. And I really like the idea of you know, getting in and figuring out how to do this. So the flow of the day, Ryan will present the topic to us. We will then move into breakout sessions. The breakout sessions will probably be 2 to 3 of them. It's a chance for us to get to know each other a little bit. Simple, maybe a fun activity, just what have you been doing now that it's not raining anymore, and then dive into the meat of the conversation. After the breakout, what we'll do is we'll bring everybody back together for a group session and a group discussion, and then we'll wrap up the day, the meeting with our feedback, which the way that looks is we'll answer the questions, I like, I wish, I wonder. That's important because we really use that portion of the meeting to really inform, you know, next topics, what went well, and what we'd like to discuss. For those of you who are new to SCIP, this is really a collaboration of Stanford professionals. We get together once a month to talk about topics and concepts related to the improvement work that we're doing. So again, welcome everybody. I look forward to the discussion. And thank you, Ryan, for preparing the topic.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Michael. Welcome, everybody. I'm noticing some new names. I'm thrilled to get to know, well, we'll get to meet each other in a few minutes. If you're able, I know that some of you may not be able, if you're able, go ahead and turn your camera on. Love to see your faces and connect people a little bit. I want to give you a sense of how I'm going to navigate this. Given the topic today is, if you look at my background, can we create or foster an innovative culture in a hybrid environment? So in that spirit, we're using Mural, a innovative or a collaborative online platform to guide the meeting. And you've noticed we've done that in the past. I'm going to use this platform as our navigation tool while we walk through this. I want to orient everyone to this. First off, I've got a Mural page actually for every one of our sessions. So if you were to go to our website and you could see, we do have a web page in SMCI. We have all the recordings of our meetings on there. And then we also have Mural pages still up for all of the sites. So if you want to go back and look at what we've done, you certainly can do that. And you can listen to past meetings, including the past session, what we called Tool Time, which was a little, we'd have people talk about a tool that they use in improvement. So those are pretty nice too. Today's going to be slightly different. Today, we wanted to be able to have more of a conversation, have a chance to have a common topic that I'm going to read this. We're going to have a little story time in a second. I'm going to read this article. You may have already read it. And if you did, awesome. You'll even get more out of it. I've also put in some quotes from different articles I've read about this topic up top. I'm going to read the article, which I've included here. And then if you look at the overall way this is structured, we're going to break into breakout groups. And so you're going to have a numbered group that you're part of. And what I'd like for you to do is just enter your information in this Mural. We're going to pop that into the chat, the link to this page in the chat when it comes time. Right now, we're just going to navigate this way. But you will enter any notes you have, any tools you've used, any questions, comments, or highlights or ideas you have. You'll put it in here because we're going to share after in a large group discussion and hopefully learn from one another and come up with some potential best practices or things we might all want to try to be able to create that innovative culture. All right. So I am hoping that this article is provocative, and I know that there's a lot of different perspectives on this topic. I've held many different ones over the years, and I'm going to really do my best not to make comments when I read the article. So hold me to that, because it's going to be really hard for me to do that, but I'm going to do it. So here we go. Here's our story time. So hang with me, read along with me. Okay, Disney's CEO Bob Iger demanded on January 9th, 2023, that all employees return to the office for at least 4 days a week because, quote, in a creative business like ours, nothing can replace the ability to connect, observe, and create with peers that comes from being physically together. So that's similar to the sentiments expressed by Apple's CEO Tim Cook, who demanded that employees come to the office for at least 3 days per week because, quote, innovation isn't always a planned activity. It's bumping into each other over the course of the day and advancing an idea that you just had. And you really need to be together to do that. But is this true? On one hand, research at MIT found that remote work weakens the cross-functional inter-team weak ties that form the basis for the exchange of new ideas that tend to foster innovation. A study by Microsoft similarly found that remote work weakens innovation since workers communicate less with those outside their own teams. On the other hand, McKinsey research points to a different conclusion. It found that during the more than 2 years of the pandemic, there's been a record number of new patents across the 150 global patent filing authorities. Moreover, in 2021, global venture capital more than doubled from 2020, rising 111%. McKinsey suggests that it's because more innovative companies develop new ways of connecting remote workers together to build and sustain the cross-functional inter-team ties necessary for innovation, thus widening the pools of minds that could generate new ideas. Deloitte similarly highlights how adapting the process of innovation to remote settings offers the key to boost innovation for hybrid and remote teams. My experience helping 21 organizations transition to hybrid and remote work demonstrates that innovation is eminently doable, but it requires adopting best practices that address the weakening of cross-functional connections and lack of natural spontaneous interactions that breed innovation. Unfortunately, companies like Disney and Apple have adopted a traditionalist perspective on how to innovate, which ironically hinders innovation. An excellent technique for innovation in hybrid and remote teams to replace innovation breeding random hallways conversation involves relying on collaboration software like Slack or Microsoft Teams. What you need to do is set up a specific channel in that software to facilitate the creativity, spontaneity, and collaboration behind serendipitous innovation, and then give employees incentives to use that channel. All right, I'm going to pause right there. I think that's enough to get us started. There's more to this article. There's another article that I can provide to you that goes into this a little bit more detail. But what I think that's a good enough prompt for us to have conversation. And what I'd like us to discuss in groups of ideally 3, there may be groups of 2, depending on how many we have. But I'd like us to talk about this, is the concept of innovation in a hybrid world. Is this something that we do need a physical water cooler to stand around and bump into each other? Is this something that we can do virtually? Is it something we can do in a hybrid world? And then if so, how do we do it? How have you done this successfully? What are some successful tools that we can learn from one another to make this happen? Because I think it's not a if this hybrid world's going to continue, it's how big and how well will we adapt as improvement leaders in this world. So with that, what I'd like to do is, again, here, I'm going to share the link. It doesn't look like it's been shared yet. I'm going to pop that in here and share it with everyone. So when we break you out, you will go into that link, and then you will go to the bottom, not the way bottom, but you'll go into your corresponding group. Team 1, team 2, you see the label at the top. So you go into your corresponding group based on what your breakout team is. So remember that when you go in your breakout, okay, I'm in breakout 4, and go to team 4 and then use that, all right? So Selena's going to break us out. When we come back, we're gonna take 20 minutes, so we'll go to 11:30 to really dig into this. And then we're gonna have the rest of the meeting to have a group discussion about this. And I want to hear your thoughts. This is going to be best if we all interact here. All right. So Selena's going to go ahead and break us out.
We're back.
Okay. All right, welcome back, everybody. I hope that I got a few texts and things from a few people asking, what are we doing? So I hope that wasn't everybody. I hope you had an interesting conversation, and I hope everyone also got a chance to get to know each other. That's a big part of this group. And I would like to also further that to say that we're gonna have a group discussion here. And I'm gonna keep I'm gonna not turn on the or share my screen for a period of time. I've got it up here, and I imagine you all do too. But I want everyone to see each other as we're talking through this. I really think that would be a nice thing. So if you can keep your cameras on, please do, because this is what's fascinating about this concept is Disney talked about going in person because it fostered innovation, but yet is that really that innovative? But one of the reasons they did that, I think, and I think we'd all agree, there is a magic to being in person. But I think we can also do a lot in a virtual environment like this. So this is fun for me because we're trying to do some of the things that they said can't be done in this environment. And some of you I've never met. Some of you I have met. And when I met you, I feel like we've known each other for a long time. And I feel like when we met in person, it was like, oh, great. I mean, it was almost like even more fun because it's like you're a real person. And so it was pretty great. And as a little plug on another thing that I think would be relevant, the Lean conference. I don't know if someone popped that in or not, but we have a Lean academic conference every year. It's in October. Last year, I remember coming to that and seeing a bunch of my colleagues on the children's side that I had only met through this. But I felt like we were all one big family there. I don't know what the history was before that. I joined Stanford in the middle of the pandemic, so I didn't get a chance to see before. But we all connected there at the conference, and I felt like we were all one, improvement community because of this, because of the work we've done here. It was really, really, really fun. So what I would like to do is I'd like to start by just opening it up and seeing, first of all, thoughts on this overall concept. What were some of the highlights? And then if we have time, I'd like to go through each of the teams. So when you speak up, I'd like you to just introduce yourself real fast so that everyone has a chance to know who you are. And because that's a big part of this group. And then talk about the ideas. So the prompt was, can we foster an innovative culture in a hybrid environment? And then if so, how? What do we do? And then if we can't, what are some of the reasons that we can't do it, or some of the things that can't be replaced? Because there might be some of those too. So who'd like to start? How about someone from team one? Let's start with team one.
Well, that would be us. Yeah, Catherine, Brendan, I don't know if anybody want to chime in?
Yeah, call them out so that we know who they all are so we can look at them. So, you said Catherine?
Yeah, Kathleen, sorry. I don't know why I called you Catherine. I know who you are. I know who you are. Kathleen, Brendan, Emily. We had one drop, yeah.
Okay.
Brendan has an emoji. He doesn't want to say anything. Well, I personally think that the opportunities for productivity and just connectivity are so much greater in this virtual space, but I think that it's critical to have a hybrid approach so you still can have the personal connection. So prior to COVID, I had never worked virtually. And when I took this job at Stanford, I was freaking out because I thought my magic was when people met me, they were just like, oh, we love her energy. And I'm like, how am I going to get that energy to project across, right, this screen? And what if they just turn off their camera? And I think it's because they're busy, but really because they're tired of hearing me talk. Like, how do I know people are with me? So we talked a little bit about that, about the power of how to engage within the hybrid or the Zoom environment. And we also talked about the issue where we try to have these hybrid meetings where your Zoom folks are almost like second-class citizens, right? Because it's hard to keep them pulled in, but you're focused on the room because that's the living, breathing group right in front of you. So I could talk about this all day. I'm going to mute myself. I'm going to give you guys that gift of mute and let others speak up.
That is so good. So I do appreciate you calling out the hybrid in a meeting sense, because that's complicated, and doing that well, we've done it really bad, and I think we're getting better, but there's surely opportunities there. We've seen that with some of the trainings we offer, for sure. Outstanding. And some of the people are here that I see are from some of our hybrid trainings, like we have the advanced course in improvement science. Some of you are on this call, have been part of that, and you've experienced that. So it's great in some senses, and then in others, not so great. So really, really good. Okay, thank you. Anyone else from Team One want to add to that? Brenda's just going to give emojis is all. So.
I mean, I'm one of the pediatric physician, and I co-lead with Ryan, one of the new cohorts for RIDE. I think that it's also on us how we sell the Zoom. If we sell that it's another meeting that you have to do, it's different. But if we sell it as, hey, we'll do it online, and this way you have time with your family, or you get sell the benefits, not just it's another meeting. And I think that we can get a little bit more participation and engagement.
It's a great point. It's a great point in terms of being able to be flexible. Yeah. Lifestyle flexibility has been huge, right? It's a big selling point. And it can improve engagement because, wow, I really want to be here. I know that there's a lot of other things going on, but I want to be here because this is valuable and I'm really getting a lot out of this. Excellent. Really great. All right. How about, I like Phyllis's comment. People on Zoom or online it's not always Zoom, but they have to be responsible for their engagement as well, right? You have to be willing to speak up for sure. Yeah, if you just sit in the background and then you complain about not feeling engaged, well, that's on you to a degree. You got to kind of put yourself out there. And so this is a key I think for improvement leaders, for all of us, and you're an improvement leader if you're at any level, we have to model that. We have to step out and be uncomfortable sometimes in these settings and ask questions and get engaged because we want others to do it. So we have to be the first to jump in sometimes. So that's really, really good. How about let's go to team 2. I might bounce around a little bit, but team 2. Who do we have in team 2? Call yourselves out. Let's see.
I'm Ryan. I was on team 2. This is Jesse Roselle. I was with Kim and Elita, and we lost one other member. So there was a good discussion. I'm originally starting with like, how is everybody currently working now? So there's quite a bit of variation in the 4 of us that were in our room. So just understanding, kind of like current work situation. A lot of people mentioned using Teams and the Teams chat, and I'll let Kim speak to her great idea that I'm hoping to use with my team. But also, our team, the Stanford Children's Performance Improvement Team, is coming in person every Wednesday at minimum. So our leadership did decide to pull us all together for some of this exact reason, kind of every Wednesday. So it's fun to see everybody in person at least once a week. But yeah, go ahead, Kim, if you want to share your thoughts.
Yeah, sure. So I talked a little bit about the team structure that we have on our team. So Ryan, Jakaria, Selena, and others. I don't know who else is on the line, but as you guys know, we have a Teams channel. And to provide a personal touch, if you will, to that channel, we have a water cooler, and it's a space for all of our team members to be able to add some fun, honestly, family photos, a podcast they ran, across while working, and just providing that, human touch to the team. I work closely with Jakaria, who we have these discussions where she's a constant reminder of everyone is human. And I'm trying to just include that in our, infrastructure for our programs, our meetings. So Alidia was also pointing out at one of our other meetings, we had a icebreaker section in the beginning of a meeting just to be able to talk about our pets. And it was a nice little 10 minutes. Everyone kind of chimed in, showed photos, and it was a great way to just start the meeting, have everyone start on a great foot, and then get into the discussion of our work and fostering, what was it, Alita, that you're saying? Comfort and trust with our colleagues. I think that's what you're saying, right?
Yeah, kudos. I just wanted to also share, during our discussion, even just connecting again as humans is difficult to do. And I just love the engagement that we're all sharing here in terms of connecting with one another. And so I was going to put this book recommendation that I'm currently reading about Team Human, making sure that we're not just operating like people in a assembly line, right? We have to eventually connect with one another and really build trust and engagement that way. So I'll share the book recommendation in the chat.
That's great. How about what are some thoughts about actual? So I'd like to build this is a lot of great stuff. It sounds very similar to what some of the other people said. I mean, seeing things like in-person time is fun. There is no substitute for in-person engagement. So we know that that's valuable, but we also know that. Oh,
sorry,
someone?
Ryan. I didn't mean to
Yeah.
interrupt you.
Oh, go ahead, Morgan. Yeah, go, jump in.
I wrote that. The in-person time is fun time. So I have a long history of working in remote companies where everyone's on site, but I'm remote, hybrid, long before the pandemic. I've been doing that since 2008, 2009. And I think it stems from my career starting in Salesforce, and Salesforce is cloud-based. And so in fact, the background today is very Salesforce-y. But I worked for a consulting firm that didn't have an office. We were all fully remote. The only time we saw each other was if we were on site with a client, and that was rare. But twice a year, we did team retreats at a common location that normally meant some travel for a few folks. And it was pure fun. So if you are going to be fully remote and you need that connection time, let the in-person time be the fun time. That was a fantastic approach I saw with that virtual company, and it made in-person time a treat instead of this well, you have to come show your face to prove that you're working. And I think that is the dynamic that should be avoided at all costs in a remote or hybrid situation.
That sounds great. Michael, your Wednesday meeting is pure fun. Is that open to anyone then? Or is it just you guys? It's just you guys? Because
adding on to Michael's comment.
You're on mute, Micah.
That's my comment.
Yeah, come early because the fun starts around 8 o'clock.
Okay.
And it's just a joyous time every Wednesday.
Yeah, adding on to that, it is a great time on our in-person team meetings on Wednesday. Someone usually brings a snack and just fun, just chatting and catching up before our meeting, usually during that time.
That is awesome. I love that. I love that. Thanks, guys. And Morgan, that is such a really nice encouragement, I think, is that focus on the fun. And in fact, to that point, I would love us to get together, this group, possibly at the Lean Academic Conference or some other time, to be able to have an in-person time where we could just have fun with one another. So if someone wants to do that, Morgan, you said let's do it. So maybe I'll tap you and some others to come up with this, because this group is, it's not, there's not just because we put it together doesn't mean we're leading it. So we're all leading it. This whole group is meant to be collaborative. So let's practice some of that. So maybe Morgan, some others can get together and do a project management practice about putting a group together. So awesome. All right, so we've got a few minutes. I would like to, I know that there's probably some people who are dying to say something, so I'm gonna see if anyone else wants to say.
Ryan, this is Kieran. Can you hear me?
Yeah, yep, can hear you.
So I want to bring a perspective, since I am a nurse, and it's very hard to do nursing, direct patient care, remotely. Even though in my role I'm able to do my work remotely. I think the aspects that we need to consider for this, it's probably not a either or. I think it's different combination of approach for different roles. And I also want to add the fact that sometimes, even if it's a role that can be done remotely, when someone is a novice or an advanced beginner in that particular role, I think the oversight and the things that you learn from colleagues being in the same area and having those, water cooler conversations or just quick check-in is priceless. And I was giving an example for myself. I was trying to call, Verizon, and during the pandemic, and it seemed like there were people that were working remotely that had very little experience, and they were probably going through a manual, when in fact, if they were in a big, large room full of people with experience, then it would have been probably easier for them to ask quick questions and get the information and send me off quicker. So I think if you have a third order thinker leader, I think you can make things work by meeting the needs of the role as well as the needs of the individual for job fulfillment and so on and so forth. So I think it's very hard to really put a blanket statement and say, this is good and that is good. And the answer to me is, it depends.
Yeah. And I hope you don't walk away from this trying to be convinced on one or the other. The idea was that it's not good or bad. It's just, how do we foster this, given the fact that there is a hybrid environment? Not that one is better or the other is better, but we have it. So how do we, as improvement professionals, go into that and make the best of it and excel in it and lead it? Some of the things that I heard us talking about was, you have to be intentional, much more intentionality than probably just bumping into someone. You have to make that bump happen, right? You have to actually go and create the bump so that you're connecting with people. You have to do it in different ways. So like this, you have to create a meeting to talk about things and have a chance to get to know each other. Any last comments? We've got I just want to give maybe 2 more minutes, and then I would like to make sure that if you do have to leave, if you could spend just a second and go down to the bottom of that mural and add what you liked about this, what you wish we would have done, and maybe I wonder if we would do this maybe in the future. Go ahead and do that. You could do that even right now. But are there any last comments? So Rancel, instead of waiting for opportunities, have to try to create them. Yeah. Oh, that's what I said. Yeah. Yeah, making it fun. I'm glad you're pulling some things out here. Any last thoughts? Okay. Well, I'll give the time to you to do the I like, I wish, I wonder. I would like to say on behalf of Michael, myself, the rest of the team that puts this together. Thank you for this. This has been a nice conversation. And what I will do, in addition to send you the link to this audio or this recording, I'll also send you the link to the article that I shared, which was also on the invite, but then another article that I just read. And maybe we could create a channel that we could continue talking about this. So I'll think about that. We'll put that into practice. Maybe a Teams channel. Although not everyone has Teams. We'll come up with something. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Happy
Thanks,
Thursday.
Ryan.
Thank you.